Hi, guys. Welcome
Oh,
to
hey.
Let Loose with Lou. How are you? Hopefully, you guys have had a great week. We were all gone for the beginning of the summer, but we're right back on track as of now, right?
That's right. It's great to be back,
It
Louise. I think we got a great
is.
podcast tonight. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh my God. So, we have a lot to talk about, and we started prior to recording, but we're talking about because you're being a
Addiction. We're
stickler.
talking about deception. We're talking about addiction as a family disease, this kind of component of secrecy and lying. And what do you do when your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife is back on pills or
Ugh,
drugs or alcohol,
smoking
and
weed,
you can
coke,
tell that they're
gassing.
like, you can tell they're doing it. They're sneaking out to the car and they're going to the bathroom a lot and they're lying to you and you know that they are. Like, what do you do with that?
Exactly. And I was talking to Melon earlier and she was watching a program, right, Melon?
Yes, I was watching. Are you going to introduce everyone first?
Sorry, we got into this. So, my co host, Steve,
What's up, everybody? Great to be here.
co host, Melon,
Hey, you guys.
and our guest, Chris. Thanks,
Hey,
Chris.
what's going on?
That's
What's
good.
up,
Hey,
Chris?
Chris doesn't have the pillow.
I don't have
Yes.
the pillow today. I'm
No
not bottled
Everybody
water.
was asking about that pillow. Why is he get? Why does he have
Really?
the blanket in front of him when
Oh,
we did
no.
the last podcast?
That was
Yeah.
funny.
What is it? Yeah, okay.
That was a good one. Did you
Snoopy-
get
It
to
was
Snoopy
pretty
character?
funny. Huh?
That Snoopy character? That's always
Oh,
got a
Lionel,
dirty blanket?
Linus.
Yeah, Linus.
That was a good, actually a very good episode. We
Yeah.
need to bring her back on.
Oh yeah.
But
Very
back on
informative.
track.
Let's dive into this thing.
Let's do it.
Oh, so you were asking me in regards to I was watching this series, started watching it, and it's called Painkillers, and it was a very interesting series. I'm just beginning with the episodes, but how it began was a guy got injured and at work and hurt his back, and he had to go in for surgery and all that stuff, and then he ended up on opioid
Opiates.
Opiums.
opiates, and so he was taking that, but he got addicted to it. So what he was doing was he would start sneaking out in the middle of the night, going to take it. The wife was not seeing it. She kind of put a blind eye to it, but
Which most women do, right?
the son saw it, and the son confronted when he got almost got in another accident because he was high as hell. Then the wife came to his side and was like, "Oh my God." And the son was like, "Can't you see it, mom? He's on these drugs." And then she went off on the son and said it was his fault and get out the house. And so the episode goes on, and the guy is she's actually being handicapping him because he's taking it and
disabling
she's
him.
disabling him because yeah, she's just and so anyway, I haven't got past that, but that's the way it's going. It goes in a lot of places. Happened with my
And
friend.
Well, that's what we want to discuss, right? Is like what a common thing, an unfortunate thing that like a worker sustains a physical injury, they have to have surgery, they go on opiates like an OxyContin, Vicodin, Norco, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and they unfortunately get addicted, and then this new problem emerges where they're lying and they're sneaking to have
get that
this high
high.
and this substance relief from pain, right? And like my compassion for people who have that experience. And then these, spouses who may not really know how to identify that or not really know what to do with that, And I think our kind of marriage culture is I should stand by my partner and believe them. And then you're telling this great story where the kid sees his father totally high as a kite, intoxicated, calls him out, and his mom, the wife, protects
The
the
husband.
The
substance
husband.
Yes,
abuser
yep.
and keeps the problem kind of going.
Yes.
And that's the game, Like, and like what do you do with that?
And that's the thing. What do you do? Because half of these husbands or wives, they're not accustomed to taking pills, but there's something in there that just is. My question is it an underlying issue, like subconsciously? Because you did address something, Chris, that you said when you took your first drink,
Mhm.
you fell in love with it, right?
Mhm. Yep.
But what made you fall in love? Like, what was that experience? What was that feel? What was your
Well,
thought?
I think it's a combination of things for me. I was young. I started when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And I think a lot of it had to do with my self esteem, how I thought of myself, and so on and so forth. And it basically elevated all those things I was missing and took away all the inhibitions and gave me this false sense of courage and the ability to talk to people and come out of my shell. So I thought I had, oh, I had arrived. I found what I had been missing. This
Your
whole,
vice.
yeah,
They build
and
the confidence
it
subconsciously, and
just, it was initially it was like a new relationship that the honeymoon stage, and from there it just kept, it took me down.
Mhm.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to just make a point there, right? Like for all of us, and also like for those of you guys who are watching this, like what Chris is saying is actually very important, very precise. Is addiction is usually informed of some type of other pain, right? So Chris is saying like I was a kid who didn't have like this great self esteem all at once, right? And that's the pain point, not necessarily some larger thing, but the pain point of like I didn't have that great of a self esteem, and alcohol
and
temporarily resolve that or relieve that, right? Which is in our humanity. Everybody wants to feel good. Everyone wants to feel like they're cool or part of, or and that serve that function. Whereas let's say like the regular tempered drinker doesn't maybe have that experience.
Yeah.
They're just toasting to the bride and groom on the wedding day, right? And that's it. But that there's usually something more underneath that
underline.
I,
that informs
I
why the
yeah,
substance.
and I think also that a lot of it for me too, it was like because I have an addictive personality,
Mhm.
finding something that made me feel good, I was
Mhm.
constantly looking for that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got to a certain point out with the alcohol, it's like, well, my friends are doing this. Well, why don't I should just try it because they're doing it. It's probably it's working for them. Then why won't it work for me? Then I started smoking weed, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then I elevated to stealing pills and popping pills, and
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like that. But it there's there's a whole, as you probably well know, there's the dynamics of the addiction is very broad, and
Yes.
it's different for a lot of people, but there are similarities
Right.
that everybody can relate to, I think.
Right.
And
And
Yeah.
it's everybody's story is different,
Right.
but
So for
no one's is better or worse than anybody else's.
no,
It's their own experience.
their own individual. We just spoke
right.
about this. We're human beings are so eccentric, right? We're all so fascinating in so many different ways. And we carry or we feel things differently. Like I could drink all night long
Yeah.
and I'm a happy drunk.
Yeah.
I'll be happy, laughing, having a good time. And then there's others that just want to tear up the whole
Yeah,
world.
they
Like
drink
it's
and
like a
they get
trigger,
angry,
Yeah.
yeah. But
angry.
what I do, in my studies, I'm not a doctor, but,
But you
You play
play
one
but
on
you play
TV.
one on TV.
no, I have a bunch of friends that are.
But but I did say in the Holiday Inn Express last night.
But,
All this.
but
Brrr-boom.
yeah. So a lot of times, like, I have a friend and she's, been married 25, 30 years or whatever the case may be. And her husband goes in and out. So with pills, whatever he's doing, whatever else. But when he gets on that, the personality disorder comes out, and he's sometimes very mean. You don't know what you're gonna get. It's bipolarism. It's all that wrapped in together. Of course, he doesn't recognize it, but the family, continues to tell him, "Wait, what's up? What are you doing? Why are you acting? Everyone's seeing you act like this. We don't know how to approach you. We're walking around on eggshells, and we're getting tired of it." Well, he'll go get cleaned up for a couple of years and he's right back on it, but he thinks that no one knows that he's doing this,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And so he keeps doing it and the family's getting kind of sick of it. Like my friend, she's really kind of getting sick. She doesn't want to leave because he's a good guy somewhere in there until he gets on, starts doing his pill popping, then he goes back to that person again.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like, what do you do at that point as far as the wife is concerned? Does she keep dealing with it? Just to be in his corner, I guess. But he's never cleaning up because to me, this is my opinion. it almost is like an enabler because they
Yeah.
know you're not going anywhere.
Right.
So they go ahead and say, "Well, whatever, I'd go through this," and it's okay with them because they already know the end result. Sometimes you have to take drastic moves.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
So,
if you really care about that person. That's my opinion. Because if you're hurting them, like I used to tell people, sometimes tough love is better than that sweetheart love because that sweetheart love doesn't do anything.
True.
That tough love is what makes a person sometimes wake up if they want to. Because remember, it's not about if you want them to change. It's not about if anybody wants them to change or get off of it. It's up to them
yeah.
because they can go in and out programs 100 times. But if they're not ready, they're just doing it for you. They're doing it for the outward appearance. Then truthfully, they're not ready and they're not going to be completely clean and sober.
Right.
Malone, can I or do you want to take this one, Chris? I have.
What's that?
Do you want to respond to this one?
No,
Like,
I just it's an inside job.
it's an
What
inside
she
job.
was
Yeah.
saying, I mean, it's very true.
Mhm.
Tough love. I mean, I had to experience the tough love. I had to lose everything.
Malone, do you know this man fairly well, or
The
kind of know enough about him?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Do
it's
you,
my
do you
friend's husband.
do you have the sense that he is just one of those types that's just genetics to be addicted, or do you think that there's like something behind that, like some type of pain point that sort of drives his need to feel better, or like kind of what Chris was saying, like I had a low self esteem. This kind of relieved that. My friends were having fun. I wasn't having fun. And people need to have the feeling of relief or pleasure, right? Like,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you think this guy has some darker pains that are unresolved that he's using pills to sort of code, or do you think he's just one of those, like I said, one of those types that's just,
Recreational
or just,
drug
or
user.
yeah, or just he's just like they say the Irish, they're just kind of prone to alcoholism.
I think maybe he just likes the feeling. Uh, along that's how a lot of people become crackheads because they'll take the crack one time and then and the endorphins hit
Mm, you're
they
right.
go sporadically and they get this high
Right,
and they could never get that high again. So they're chasing it.
right.
True.
And so
They want it
they're
more.
always chasing that high. So
It's like
I'm
a good
thinking that
orgasm.
he just likes
Seriously.
chasing it.
Yeah. You know,
What'd you
that's
say?
I said getting high, like when you're chasing that high,
Yeah.
it's like chasing that good orgasm.
Yeah.
Like you
You
want
want
that
it, but you
second one,
Except
never
for the
get it.
orgasm, you don't have a hangover.
right?
Yeah, you'll
But
never get
Well,
it
maybe
again.
you do. I don't know. It
yeah,
depends on how you.
depending on what you do. But
Yeah.
like now, and we spoke about this earlier. Now it's not like weed is just regular weed.
Oh, no, they
No,
lacing it.
now
Right.
that
It's
how
pretty strong. Very
exactly.
strong.
Would you mind giving us a little bit of explanation of?
Yeah, I'll talk about
Mhm.
today's cannabis. And
Marijuana.
also, like, I wanted to just kind of not lose track of what we're talking about with this friend of yours, husband, is he's probably, my guess is listening to you, is that he's probably has something underneath there that's driving this, and he wants to feel good. Like, you're right, like he just wants to feel good, and he's at a place in his life where he'd rather feel good, even if he has to lie, cheat, and steal to do it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then now he's going to pay the price. Like the girlfriend of yours is going to be hopefully able to call him out, or hopefully be able to kind of tough love that.
Mhm.
But the combination, like if you want to talk about the combination of
Yes.
opiates and cannabis, opiates are highly addicting,
Right.
right? Like most people never get off those, or they're on something like Suboxone, Subutex, methadone long term, and then
Wow.
cannabis
Mm.
is
Traumatized.
not the plant it was.
No.
The 80s or 90s or even the early 2000s. Now that it's legal, there's thank you for asking,
Yes.
is science can engineer that plant and pluck that THC out and make these pens highly potent. And then
Yeah.
if you're doing it with a dab or a wax, you can
Right.
deliver about 90% THC, which is unheard of
Wow.
amount. And what that's doing is some people actually go off the reservation and they
Right.
become psychotic and
Right.
they'll be schizophrenic. And THC is one that takes a long time to bring you back. Could take you 30 days to actually come back to neutral. And then there are some, particularly younger people, that they're having permanent schizophrenia. There's the potency of the THC breaks the brain and they become
And can you
long-term schizophrenic.
can
So it's
you
high it's actually very dangerous.
and then they're
Very
mixing.
dangerous.
Yeah, that's how dangerous it is. And then you have people that are mixing it with painkillers.
And then if you're doing with painkillers,
which is almost
What?
like
right?
a fentanyl kind of effect.
Well, think about that, Malone. Like, think about that. This person could very easily, you can talk to your girlfriend about this, so easily take a few pills, take some high potency THC, and get in a car and easily kill somebody or
Right.
themselves. Like,
Right.
very,
Instead,
or if they
Right.
have children and they're in the car, like that can happen very easily.
Right.
So, like, this is actually quite serious.
So when
Right.
you say 90% THC, you're not talking about actual a plant that has 90% THC. You're actually talking about the how they extract it produces the potential percentage in that particular plant
mhm.
That's right.
that they're getting. So you say if the particular strain of THC has 27, a particular strain of cannabis has 27% THC in that strain, when they extract that from the plant, they're getting 90% of that 27%.
They could, right? Like, so let's say you're like an old school smoker, you just want flour, you're gonna load it into a bong, right? Or however you prefer, like some old school way. That percentage is gonna be way less because that plant produces X amount of
Right.
THC.
And it's a concentration that is
That's naturally occurring in the
yeah.
plant.
Right.
Yeah.
But what these scientists can do now
They're
That's
making
is they can
synthetic.
extract the THC from these plants
Yeah.
Add.
and put it in a little cute little pen that you can carry in your pocket.
Yeah, that's
Dick-
the
Right,
crazy part.
and then if you add, like, the waxing, the dabbing, like those potencies, you can drive your THC delivery to like these very high concentrations.
Yeah.
And for like a 20-year-old brain, teenage brain,
Oh, that's
what
so
I'm
scary.
seeing in my profession as like a uh, operating a drug and alcohol treatment center is like some of them have real psychiatric
Issues,
breakdown,
your breakdowns.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
and
Because
some of
what?
that can be permanent.
Right. Because in my studies of marijuana, because I had married a fella that was a ex crackhead, and he weaned himself off of the crack, but I didn't know he was a crackhead, ex crackhead when I married him. It was years before that. And when I married him, he was smoking marijuana, but I didn't know he was smoking marijuana. He hid it very, very well because that was just not my thing. I mean, I understand the cannabis a little better, and some people, because they rather take the natural cannabis for different mood swings or situations they go
That's
through.
how it starts.
Well, because like, and I'm just saying from like my daughter, not to say that it was okay, but I saw she had her depression was to the extreme. She was a very depressed person. I don't know where it came from or it stemmed from. So when she got of age, they try to give her this medication. The side effects was not a good side effect. So she has started smoking cannabis, which was grown by my brother. So
So if it's
we know,
homegrown, yeah,
yeah.
it's good.
So we know where it was. But I saw how it affect her, how it kept her mellow and not in
Grounded.
that mad. I want to kill myself because she would go through that, and especially
Mhm.
through PMS.
Mhm.
She would go to the crying and won't get up and all that stuff. And I saw how that did help her in a natural way. So
Mhm.
I had a whole different outlook on marijuana. Now, I was never a marijuana smoker. I didn't start drinking until I was 38 years old, and I'm very much of a lightweight. But because my
I
personality,
vouch for that.
yeah, and my personality that is already on 10, that drinking will never be like my go-to
Yeah.
anything. And I had an operation. They put me on Vicodin, and I did not like the way Vicodin did
Ugh.
me, and I got off of that. Like I can't do anything for a long period of time
Yeah.
because I just don't have that personality. I don't like the way it makes. I don't like anything taking control of me.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I am.
So
So let's kind of go back to ending the kind of loop on the cannabis. There's some that like they can smoke it, it's no big deal, right? It's no big deal. Right? I have a friend like that who's a daily smoker. He is a high functioning major contributor to society.
mhm.
It's a no harm no foul. Other people like they can't get off the couch. Their goals are
Right.
gone. They're just watching TV all day long, right? And then there's these kind of high potency things we're talking about. But like what I really want to talk about is like your friend, right? It's like what is your friend gonna do, right? Like
Right.
And this is what I think there's a lot of people who have this. They have
Mhm.
partners that are actively in addiction, or like you're a kid and your parent is actively in addiction, and they're lying to you, and they're stumbling, and they're starting to get mean.
Right.
Like what is your friend gonna do?
Right.
You know? And like
Yeah.
I hear that like part of your thought is like she's gonna have to get real sharp. Like she's gonna have to really trim the fat and say, hey, like you're doing this.
And the sad part is that your
Did I
friend
get that?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
your opinion is she needs to kind of get real tough with him.
Right. That is my opinion. That's my opinion, period. So, that's not hers though.
And that still may not be enough.
Yeah, well,
Can you say more about that, Chris?
I can.
Yeah.
mhm.
Because when the addiction grabs a hold of you, there's nothing anybody can do that's around you. Like I said earlier before, it's an inside job. And I had to be,
Right.
I mean, I can tell you from my personal experience, 1991, I moved to Oregon and I didn't have a job. And I was sitting in my recliner at 10:30 in the morning watching Jerry Springer reruns with a bottle of St. Ides malt liquor in my lap with my 9 millimeter in my
Oh,
lap,
wow.
Mm.
homicidal, suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a family and 2 kids and a wife, and I was destroying everything around me, because alcohol had a grip on me so tight
Mm.
that, she tried everything. There's not a dang thing she could do.
Mhm.
To try to
It
help you.
well, help me or get rid of me or
Mhm.
what have you. I mean,
Mhm.
the whole 9 yards. I mean, I ended up getting sober through an outpatient treatment center they wanted me to go inpatient, but of course, I'm a man, I can handle this. But, after 2 years, 3 years of sobriety, after building a house from the ground up and being quote unquote free from alcohol, not necessarily sober,
Right.
I
Big
accomplished
difference.
a big difference. I accomplished a lot, but I still had a lot of the issues there, and I lost everything.
Yeah.
The marriage, I mean, the kids were tormented by the whole thing, and that lost the house at the bank, and um, you
What
know,
got you to
So
that
there's
point?
two major
Yeah.
things though, right? So like
oh, there's a lot.
I think two things I want to like for like the viewers and for us to like hold is one is like you said, you have to tell this guy the truth. And
Yeah.
be like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to continue doing this, and kind of signing off.
Mhm.
And that's gonna be an important thing. And then what you're saying, Chris, also is like, does the person actually want to stop? Is what you're saying.
Right.
Is like this friend of yours will have to
And
say, like, do you
well,
want to
and
even stop?
and in
Because if they
reality,
don't,
that
then they
person
don't.
that person may want to, but they can't. They don't. They
They,
that
their brain's hijacked.
I can remember um, going into liquor stores after I hadn't drank for 6 months and still walking up to the alcohol and opening it because the pattern was so ingrained in me that
That's a key point right there.
I had to
Mhm.
completely learn how to change my lifestyle. Completely. I had to
Right.
my thought process, I had to relearn like they talk about. I had to relearn a new way of living, and that was the reality for me. And I've always been an advocate for anybody that's suffering and wants to get away from it is whatever it takes for you to stop, I'm okay with it.
Mhm.
As long as you can live with what you're doing
Right.
and it's ethical, moral and stuff. You're not hurting people in the process.
Right.
Because I tried everything to not drink.
That's important for people to know. Like
Mhm.
people don't know this what you're saying, and it's like maybe something just to add is that it does come to a place of no return where the person their brain is now addicted, and their brain really is hijacked. They're no longer in control of decision making, which is why there's
They
ex
fall into
I mean,
depression
and
or
why we
dark
externally
thoughts.
intervene where it's like they people move in on this person because they really cannot, to your point, Chris, they
yeah.
can't use their brain the way that they used to.
Oh yeah. And
And so
To
they,
turn
like you
it
said,
off.
they may want to, but
oh I
they physically cannot.
my my upbringing and the way view things, my value system and stuff, I wanted to, but I couldn't. I mean, I even had kidney and liver damage,
Wow.
and I still kept drinking.
God.
And that's where it goes because I remember I dated a guy. I guess I always date these people, huh? I dated a guy
Looks like it.
that and he was recovered for 25 years, this other guy, from everything, crack,
Wow.
alcohol, everything. And he told me stories of how he would sleep underneath cars, eat out of trash cans, was on Skid Row. Um, I would go to some of his meetings. I went to one of his meetings. It was a night visual meeting where they had everything off and the candles. And I'm listening to the people talk, and the girl is talking about how she sold her body and she would go and do this and that. And I'm like, boy, crack is something else. Well, at the end of the day, it was not crack, it was alcohol. And she would
Mm.
say she would drink rubbing alcohol. They will
Oh,
drink
wow.
their, I heard of this person drinks to get this high, drink sanitizers
Oh, yeah.
because the alcohol content
Level
in
is
the
higher.
sac in the sanitizers is very high and will get you, I mean, will get you really in this high
Like
that
super
they,
drunk.
yeah.
Oh, like Lysol?
So
Like Lysol?
yeah, so
Wow.
I mean,
Really?
Oh, yeah.
alcohol is just as bad as pills, and now marijuana is going to that
Oh,
point where you're talking about how it's not natural, but not only that, they're lacing it with fentanyl and stuff deliberately. Back in the day it was primos, they put crack in there, and
mhm.
that was the high. How do I
Oh,
know about
yeah.
all this stuff? Because
Oh,
I've been
no.
around people
Yeah.
and I used to act like I was high, but I wasn't. I just wanted, I was nosy. So
It's so funny.
I would. And but the thing is like when I, with my ex-boyfriend, his whole thing was, it was one day he just said, I'm done. My ex-husband, one day he sold his brand new car for $300 for to
Oh
get some
my
crack.
god.
And he said, as it drove off, he said, this will be my last hit.
Mhm.
And he took his last hit
Wow.
and he never did crack again, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, she says.
Emphasis on the allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's
Chris,
the story he told
what
me.
would your counsel be to Malone's friend if you're gonna be like, look, I kind of have a sense of what you're talking about. Like, here's probably what you're gonna need to do
Well, that's a, um, I mean, I don't know enough about it to really
to say.
to say. I mean, I think,
But your losses is what kind of helped you wake up, right? As you started seeing you losing everything.
shame, guilt, there's so many factors involved
Mhm.
in where it took me. I mean, I can remember
I feel like you cheated death
I
because
did.
yes.
I cheated death and not just physically, but there's situations that I could put myself in that I could have been gone,
And
and I mean, I was a daily blackout drinker. And if I got my hands on pills, I'd put them in my mouth and it didn't matter, and it got me in a lot of trouble.
how did
I'm
you
extremely
mask
grateful. And I had um, someone watching out after me.
mhm.
God was
It
looking at
makes me emotional thinking about it because it's
you.
a
Got an
huge,
angel.
yeah, I
Yes,
mean,
that's what I'm saying. Because you cheated death.
I can't, I cannot express the pain and suffering that people go through in addiction that the people around them can't really feel.
Right. They don't
Right.
They're
understand.
just
Yeah.
as much pain as the people around them are, but they don't know how to reach down inside and
Right.
pull themselves out of it. And
Right.
I'm talking about it because I know for me today, if I took a drink of alcohol,
Mhm.
it would be on and cracking again.
Mm.
Alcohol is like my thing. It's like
Your gateway.
I can do cannabis because I have a lot of pain, chronic pain, and I can do, like, I bought a farm in Oregon and I started growing hemp for CBD.
Mhm.
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 And 'cause I also had cancer on my left temple here, and that kind of got me into that. I don't mean to take up. I don't like
No,
to
no, no,
talk.
No, but
no.
this is really important because
This is important.
what I want to do is like leverage
My
what you're saying because like this guy you're talking about and this girlfriend, this guy is on a trajectory of what Chris is saying. Like he
Yeah,
tasted death, right? Like
yeah.
this
Mhm.
man easily can
He-
have get high on opiates and be smoking and then get in the car and then that's it.
That
And it's a it's these are psychoactive substances, which means you're going to be in an altered state.
Right.
So all it takes is one of those times for him to be like, you know what, fuck it, today's the day.
Yeah,
Today's the
yeah.
Yeah,
day.
that's true. That's
So
true.
And then they actually do it in that
Right.
intoxicated state, and now you've got a bereaved wife and children,
Right.
right? Like it's actually like your emotion is like important because
It
it's really
is.
true. Like this what you're lucky, right? You're
You
lucky.
I'm
escape.
extremely
This
lucky.
guy this guy
That's what I'm saying.
I
He
don't know if
cheated
he's lucky
death.
Right.
Like,
or what he is, but
Well,
like whatever the shame, guilt, the motivation is like he doesn't know how selfish he's behaving, right? He's like he's setting himself up to hurt a lot of other people.
and that's the word
And
selfish. Because any person that doesn't recognize that it's not just you, that you have your family going through this, it's like, why? Like, I'll give you an example. I had an ex brother-in-law who allegedly he killed himself, right? And it was over a girl. But everyone always tried to help him drinking. We tried to help, and he was so far gone.
yeah.
And this is why I'm saying, like, you cheated death because you didn't get to that point, Chris. You know, I've had multiple friends that have hung themselves
Yeah.
in the garage.
I've
Mhm.
had
you were
this I've
close.
had it in my mouth.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
had it in my
The
mouth.
St.
That's
Ives,
a
the Jerry Springer, and the
that is
nine.
that's no lie.
I heard you,
mhm,
dude.
That's no
Yeah.
lie. I have nothing. I mean, I'm
Do
sharing
you think?
this, and this is a super sensitive issue, but because of where I came from and what I've learned, I don't have any skeletons in my closet, and you can judge away.
there shouldn't
Anybody
be
can
no
judge away.
judgment.
Then
No.
let them, because
Right.
I know my truth, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's
Whatever they think about
yeah,
you is not your
it's not
business.
my business. Thank you, Malone.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's
You
also
know?
the inspiration of like, look, here I am. I had the gun in my mouth,
Yeah.
and now I'm on a podcast, and I can speak without like reservation or shame. But like that's my life experience.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean,
Exactly.
it's man.
Is there
It's
people that are like that are like thinking about doing what you were thinking
Right.
There's
about doing?
so
well,
Absolutely.
many.
yeah,
You're
and
gonna touch
I've had the
someone out there.
opportunity to help people, and even the ones you. I mean, I this is etched in my mind. This particular guy that was struggling, and I, you know, you got to give it away to keep it. If
Mhm.
you don't lead by example and do the things that you're supposed to do, then you're going to lose some of that stuff. And this particular individual was very quiet and suffering. He ended up jumping off a parking structure and committing suicide. You know,
And
how
yeah.
how lucky was I to be able to have
Right.
the opportunity to try
Absolutely.
to help him?
Right.
I
Yes.
couldn't save him.
You can.
You can't save your friend's husband. He has
Right.
to do it
Yeah, do
himself.
us, and that's the whole thing. You know what I've learned, and you run into people for a reason,
Yeah.
right? And like I was always that person that like, oh, that person's on drugs. He's just weak minded. Oh, they just they should be smart enough to do. And that's the way I was, right? Until I dated this guy, and I went to these meetings and stuff, and I learned to have a little compassion because even though I won't do it, it's totally different for someone else. Like you were saying from the beginning, there's something underlining. Maybe most of the
Yeah.
time, it comes from childhood.
That's thought
There's
provoking.
Mhm.
something in their childhood that they have experienced and it has not gone away. It's a skeleton in their closet. They're embarrassed or whatever about it. And they're taking whatever medicine or whatever
To
drink or
numb
whatever
them up.
to numb them from having to think about it. And if you're not in that state, you can't understand it.
Yeah.
You really can't, and I think that's important for people to understand because it's so easy for like the lay person who doesn't know to kind of go, "This person is just weak. Like, what's wrong with them?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
When really, like, what
Probably
happens is,
strong individual actually.
yeah, yeah, they really are. Like in my treatment center, almost everybody holds a post traumatic stress diagnosis. They have a substance use diagnosis and a post traumatic stress diagnosis, and we're treating both, right? And
Mm.
that like they're really the harm that was done is handled with a substance that temporarily takes that away
Correct.
until it doesn't work, right? And people don't understand that.
Yeah, right.
And then what happens by that time is
No,
is
that's true.
It's not really funny, but it's
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's
is
true.
then and then their mind habituates, right? Where they start to have what's called, thought intrusion, or in step one, we talk about, being unmanageable, like, the powerlessness over alcohol and that unmanageability, which basically means that your thoughts are manufactured without control. Like you don't want to think, you know what I'm gonna do today? I think I'm gonna do some meth, maybe get some hookers, maybe get in a fight, go to jail. Man, I'm glad I thought of that. Right. Like that person doesn't want to think that.
Right.
Right.
But, like, what's happening is that their brain is hijacked, and they're
Yep.
starting to manufacture thoughts of, like, "Oh, it's a long day at work. I should have a drink. Oh, I'm going to a baptism. Oh, he's getting saved by Jesus. I should drink. Oh, this guy's."
Everything's an excuse to drink
But
or
the point
yeah,
is it's thought,
it's
right?
the
Like,
thought.
this is just a cup doing whatever it's doing, but what matters is how I think about the cup, right? And so that's the game of that people don't understand is that, like, they they're intruded with thoughts of the drink. And so it takes this process to, like, do what Chris was saying. Like, I had to really change my life over and over and over again where I could go to a liquor store and not open the refrigerator and just go and get the
'Cause it's
pack of
out of
gum and the
habit, yeah.
Gatorade and hit
Yeah.
the road.
I can
Right.
remember. I'm sorry, Mom.
No, no, no.
I can remember thinking, I don't know how to live any other way.
Yeah.
How? What am I supposed to do? That in itself was like, you know, it sounded very unattractive to me.
Well, I think it does for most, right? It's hard to
Yeah.
imagine another way.
Oh yeah.
And it very much so is a lot of mental because I'll give you an example. Like my sister, she doesn't drink, right? So we go to the bar. I mean, she's very when I say very green when it comes to drinking. She can't drink. So I had the bartender make her a drink with no alcohol in it, right? And I give her the drink and I go, "Here, girl." She goes, "Who is it? Am I going to taste the alcohol?" I said, "No, she made it real good. So you can't taste the alcohol." My sister drank that drink. You would have sworn that she had just drunk a bottle of liquor.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
And she was like,
Whoa.
"Oh, this one
Wow.
Whoa.
is strong." I said, "You want another one?" I don't know because I gotta drive.
Oh my god.
That's how it your mind works.
Plays tricks on you.
So when these people have the thought of I'm tripping out, I'm hurt, this pain is here. If I get this liquor or if I get this pill or smoke this weed, it's going to make it all go away.
And I'm gonna feel good.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily go away, but they feel good so they don't have to think about it because the mind has just blocked it out of their head. So there's two sides of the spectrum. There's the people that watch the person um, deal with this stuff and pretty much destroy themselves, and there's the people that are destroying themselves. Now, where do you come to a common denominator where you're not angry at this person because that's what it becomes, anger. You become angry at this person that they're doing this and this person can't even control what they're doing. So they're one hiding it from everyone and that's a problem in itself as well because now they have to hide it and they're doing it and now they just have this thing talking to them. Now the marijuana or the pain pills is talking to them. They don't understand. It's, come on, me and
Mhm.
you. It's
Mhm.
me and you. Like you said, you had a relationship. They have relationships with their
Oh yeah.
vice.
It's a love affair.
Yeah, it's when you say that, it's interesting. It becomes a love affair. And what do the people standing around do?
My question is, at what point was the lowest point that you were like, enough is enough? Like, I can't keep doing this because you escaped it. And to me, that's intriguing because most of the people that I've known have
Died.
died.
Yeah.
They've literally have committed suicide.
Right.
Like, no joke.
Yeah.
Well,
And I mean,
there's no. I can't pinpoint any. I've had low points in my my addiction and my sobriety,
mhm,
and they are very much. I mean, as far as the pain is concerned, and emotionally and all that stuff, it's very um, close aligned with one another. Just when you're sober and you have the ability to deal with it differently
Mm.
versus medicate. Like when you have a low, when you're addicted and you're in your disease, you just medicate. When you're sober and you have a low, you have to use tools that hopefully you've been given to get through that. And you have a faith in, whoever that may be, to help pull you out and know that, it's like they say that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. I mean,
mhm.
I really believe that. Life is full of trials and tribulations that are going to be hard for us to deal with, but how long do we want to suffer through that? Do we want to pull ourselves out of that? And for me, the biggest thing is helping other people to get out of myself and stop thinking about Chris so much.
Mhm.
But
Because I'm the most important person that I know of. And
and
if
you
I
have to
think of,
think of yourself
well,
first.
you too, but I agree.
Sometimes helping others help you.
You
It
correct.
does, and I
Mhm.
mean, it gratitude. I mean, there's so many things to that. This is not a topic that, in my opinion, is it's complex.
Mhm.
Very complex.
There's a
That's a good one to
lot of
get
things
into.
involved in it.
Mhm.
I mean, I I was sitting here thinking about alcohol and how it doesn't bother me today. I can be
Mhm.
around it.
Right.
I can socialize with people that are drinking,
Right.
and I know, like, if someone's okay, that person drinks a lot and they're getting out of hand, and my tolerance level is, you know, okay,
To that place.
it's getting to that place where I have to remove myself from it because I just don't want to be around that behavior.
That's how
Right.
I get.
You
Right.
know,
I've been through
but
I've lived through alcohol my
no
whole
problem.
life.
Mhm.
My family, we've my whole family have always drank heavily. Like I don't know anything else but that. And at a young age my dad had a bar in the family room, and my friends and I, we would sneak back there and drink,
Yeah,
and we thought it was funny, but because you've seen it, with your brothers, your uncles, and cousins, older cousins, you thought, okay, well, it's cool. It's the thing to do. But when you get older and you realize how it takes a hold of you, like my ex-husband was a heavy drinker and
yeah,
I didn't realize it because we were young and dumb.
yeah,
We drank so much, and his dad was an alcoholic. His dad drank a lot, but he was a functioning alcoholic,
yeah.
and so
So was I.
yeah, and the wife, the mom accepted it, right? What do? You're a great, good Mexican woman, you deal with it.
Right.
But it's sad because those traditions do carry on, and it carried on to my son.
Yeah,
And when I saw my son hurt
yeah,
and he felt so far off the wagon, and just seeing him broken broke me so bad,
yeah,
because at that point it was like, what can I do to help him?
yeah.
Ugh.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wait,
I was gonna go in a different direction, so I'll let you do
no,
this,
I
and
was just going to
I'll
comment
go.
to what you say about the low. That what was my, like, I think the important thing for me is, I'm sorry, I don't mean to point with the water bottle
It's
here.
okay. You're so
Uh,
funny.
we're letting loose on
Hold on,
Yeah,
we're
like,
you
letting
can
loose.
point with
Hold
water
on,
bottles, but
stop pointing.
shooting it all over.
no, but I think, like, for me, it was my kids were
Yeah.
my biggest motivator.
Yes.
I mean, I at 19 years old, I had, my first kid, or I didn't have, my former did. But that's always been a motivating factor in my life from that point forward, because prior to that, I could care less about myself. I
Mm.
just didn't care. I was a live fast, die young punk rocker from, LA, Orange County. I just didn't care. And then my kids came along,
Mhm.
and that was always pulling on me,
Mhm.
always pulling on me.
Mm.
So I think that probably is what kept me, once I quit, kept going to try to keep improving myself.
Mm.
Yeah, kids can be very motivating. I mean, I think that if there's ever anything to like do an about face, it's for our kids, right?
Yeah.
Um, I wanna like maybe finish on the back end talking about like, well, what are the choices? Like Malone's like, well, what do you do with these things? Like, what are the real choices? Like, let's say this couple that you're talking about is.
Mhm.
So here's what I want to start with, and then we can all kind of add what we think are the
Yes.
choices. So, from like a professional perspective, the first thing is like, I think to that girlfriend, wife is like, how much of this do you want to tolerate? Right? Like, do you have like a boundary point where you're like, I am gonna end the relationship, or I am gonna ask them to move out, or I'm gonna move out, or how much of this do I is the like the boundary line of what I will permit and behavior with the kids. Like, I think it's clear. I think it's important for that woman to kind of set her terms of what she's gonna
Mhm.
willing to put up with, and she might say, I'm willing to put up with this. I just want to vent. And it's like, okay, well, you can vent, and just know you're gonna get more of this. And you'll need to have your way of looking after yourself and your kids. then there'll need to be some type of like, hopefully enough pain in this guy where there's a moment to kind of go, have you had enough yet? Like, do you really want to stop this?
Right.
And if your answer is no, then the answer is no. But so ideally is like, you find this guy at a moment of like real weakness where he's like, yeah, I'm beat up, man, and I'm ready to do whatever. And then you intervene then, and then
Mhm.
this person goes into formal treatment, and then it starts like that. And I think it's like, for that person is like whose maybe brain is hijacked is in those brief moments where you have some clarity. Can you just tell the truth? Can you just start with saying, the truth is yes. Like I'm sneaking out to my car and I'm popping pills, right? Like that would
That's the
be.
hardest part though, is admitting, because if you admit, then you're admitting that you're doing something bad. And most
But what I
people
want to say is like to that person is like don't go into like the shame spiral of like you're such a shithead because you're popping pills. Just tell the truth that you're popping pills and that you're having a hard time, right? Like if you can begin with the truth, that will be a great first medicine or step of like, okay, now you're not in secret, now you're not lying, like you're starting to move in the right direction. Like that's what I would say as a choice, right? Yeah,
Right.
for intervention,
for most people, yes.
right?
Well,
And then
they
I
gotta
think
have the truth in themselves because if they're
Exactly.
not
and then
true
here's
to
a
themselves.
then I guess as a
Yeah.
final, like this is maybe more kind of stylistic. There may be people out there who disagree with me, and that's fine. Like my position is that it's already so secretive. It can be very tempting for this woman to kind of disguise things for her kids, and I don't think that that's preferable. I think it's important that they know in a age appropriate way. Like, your dad's not sleepy, he's high. Or the reason
Right.
that he's mad at you or behaving this way, it's not
Right.
acceptable,
Right.
is because he's intoxicated and not like signing off and keeping the secret. I think it's important that that those secrets are eliminated,
Yeah, I
even
believe
if
in that
even
too.
if they continue on in a destructive manner.
I believe in that.
And
I'll
then,
be
and I think that
honest.
those are the choices. Then if they say yes, they can go to a hospital or treatment center and begin the process. Or maybe if they're lucky, they just go to AA and NA and they don't have to, go into some formal treatment place. But I think those are the choices for this, for these folks that you're describing. Or for
Yeah.
people who are out there, that's what I see.
Mhm.
That's I could put some input into that.
Let's see. What's your input?
As far as the honesty is concerned, it's limited
Mhm.
because it's you don't want to give up too much information.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like
I mean,
once you're honest, you're opening up a whole different door.
well,
But hear what he's saying, right? This is a this is a,
this
this
is
is a
a
ball of yarn here that he's talking about.
Exactly.
this is
Like,
it,
how many cards do I want to reveal here?
yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of that for me, from my experience, there's the grip that it had on me and my grip on it, not wanting to give up too much information because I'm going to have to give some of that up. And then also the fact of the honesty part is like, how honest do I really want to be? Because there's a lot of shame and guilt associated with the addiction and what I'm doing and what it's causing me to do and how I behave and the type of person I've become. I mean, I can talk about how much I drank and used now because I haven't had it for 30
Mhm.
years. But back then, I would never tell you how much I was drinking. Even the
Mhm.
doctors,
Mhm.
when I go to
Mhm.
the doctor, I mean, I can remember a time when I was working on my car and my former came out and just started, and that's all I'll say. And it aggravated me.
Triggered.
And I put my hand in the fan in the engine and cut my finger. I still have the scar on here. And I went to the doctor and she says, "How much you been drinking? Because you smell really bad."
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd been drinking a lot. My
Mhm.
tolerance was so
Mhm.
high, but
Mhm.
I didn't want to give up too much
Right.
in regards to your topic of being honest and telling,
Mhm.
you know, because it would take away from my love affair.
Right.
Totally.
Right.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you know what's gonna happen next, right? They're gonna tell me the thing, and I don't wanna hear it.
You
Here.
don't wanna hear the
You're
Exactly.
gonna need to stop
exactly.
this
it's
doing all this, it's
Yep.
hurting you, and they're like, "Oh, man,
They're
I
not
don't wanna."
ready. They're not
yeah.
ready.
They're not ready.
And
Right.
So
that's
that's the key thing.
Are they ready?
Are they ready within
correct.
themselves? Not from nagging, not from
Yeah.
this, not from that. They have to sometimes it hits the majority of people I know, they hit such a low,
Mm.
and that's when they got ready.
But
I think
see
one of the final comments I want to make about that too, just because you said this and I don't want to forget because there's like this is so relatable,
Mhm.
is there's dry and there's sober. Like
Mhm.
one of the
Yeah.
things you said is like this guy figures out a way to kind of get back on the horse and he'll abstain for 3 years or whatever
Mhm.
whatever he
Right.
does, right? And my experience with that is like he's just biting down. He's just abstaining, and he
Right.
may actually he
it's
may
funny.
actually
Oh
be
boy.
a total grouch. He may also be very dishonest and manipulative. Like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
only gonna do this because if I do this, then she'll tell me she loves me, or now she'll be intimate with me again if I just do this. So I'm gonna manipulate these things, but behind the scenes, this sucks, and I'm kind of grouchy. Versus like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna abandon my manipulative dark magic
Mhm.
and abstaining and really be sober and be like, do the things that Chris is describing where you transform and you're free of the obsession. You no longer want to do that because you've been shown this other life. But like I think one of the things that your girlfriend should consider is when he's abstaining,
If
is
he
he
is. If he
or
is,
in those
'cause
periods in the
Yeah.
past,
Mhm.
is he actually sincere or is it actually a form of like
Right.
manipulation, right? He's
Right.
just doing it to get this thing that he wants
The
and then
attention.
once it's good enough and it's safe enough, then I can, I could dabble a little bit, I could have a little bit
Yeah.
again because it's all good.
But it's sad that a person would gets into a relationship for what 20, 25 years
Mhm.
and then they play these games. It's like why would you play these games? Not only with the your partner, but then you have the kids that are also involved. Like that's what gets me. It's like I don't get how people can do that. Like personally me, like I would be tired of it, right?
Mhm.
But at what point are you tired enough where you want to walk away? Because, for an example, what did it take for your wife to walk away? You know, your ex wife, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
However you want to describe her, it's okay.
Hmm.
I mean, what did it take?
Like, at what point did
Well,
she?
there's always two sides to the story,
Hmm.
and everybody has their crosses they have to bear in life.
Hmm.
Okay. I own my side of the street.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, she had a lot of things on going on in her life
Hmm.
that played a factor in our relationship. And I don't know exactly what it was. It was probably a combination of a lot of things that finally, she got. I mean, she ended up meeting somebody else, I think, when we were separated. And that's a whole nother subject. But there's not one particular thing in to answer your question.
Hmm. Hmm.
It was a combination of
A
the years. We were
combination.
married 13
Oh
years,
yeah.
and it was a progression of my disease.
Hmm.
And in 2 years of being abstinent from alcohol and drugs, I was with her,
Hmm.
but I wasn't sober, and I was a raging lunatic.
Hmm.
I mean, when it warranted itself,
Hmm.
most of the
Sure.
most of the time I was angst.
Hmm.
I was,
Hmm.
Yeah, I think for everybody it's different,
so
right?
it is.
I think in generalities I can say like that person's just reached their boiling point. Like it's like
Yeah.
they're just so lonely in the marriage, or they've just been abused one too many times, or like they did that thing to the kid again, or whatever it is, or it's like some like little cherry, like another year, no birthday card. This is the last year. Like I'm just toast. This is just I'm over it. And then they go, and then maybe that person has enough pain to kind of go, wow, I just lost my family.
Right. And believe it or not, the children are smarter than we think they are.
Absolutely.
And the children, because I have another
They
friend.
figure it out.
Yeah, I had another friend, and she was with a guy that was in addiction, and the kid was only 13. And he was like, I don't know why my mother's staying with him. She's stupid. That's the kid saying that.
Hmm.
I had left a long time ago. And that was his father. He was like, the kids really are looking at the
Well,
situation
there are flies on the wall.
and they know what's going on, and they wouldn't guilt you because you left a situation that was not good for not no one in the whole room, you know what I mean? So just to get him to get right, if he decides he wants to get right, he might not want to even get right. He
Right.
might be
I think
okay.
totally. I think this whole conversation, if I were to distill it down into maybe a single sentence or a bit of wisdom, is really is the person ready?
Period.
Yeah, that's
That's what it
Mhm.
comes down to,
And
That's
if they're
that's
and if
it.
and
unfortunately.
you can't, nobody can, like you said, like nobody could have made
it's
me
Change.
ready,
Mhm.
right? It's like it's a personal decision.
and
Is
even
this person ready
even
or
if you're
not?
ready, it still has a grip on you. You
Mhm.
have to have tools and people in your life, and you have to pick up that 10,000-pound phone when you are hurting and want to pick up that drink. You have to call somebody and get out of that position you're in.
I think for men it's a little harder. I'll tell
It
you
is.
why. Because you have those friends. They're, oh, come on, man. Don't be a pussy. Come on, take a
Right.
shot. One shot's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, dude, you don't understand.
Yeah, you don't get it.
You don't get it, right?
Yeah.
It's like that one shot's going to lead to ruining my whole life.
Yeah.
Or oh, you're in pain? Oh, hold on. Here's a couple of pills I have for you. These are your coworkers feeding this shit to you. You
Yeah.
know? And it's sad because it does happen in industries.
Yeah.
It does. And you're in pain? What? You don't want to go to the doctor's here? No worries. Let me give you what I have. Take it.
That's their dope dealer.
Right.
Totally. You know? But they're creating the monsters and they don't
They don't
live with
care.
that
They
monster.
don't care.
That monster goes to the family. They go to
Because
their home.
they don't see that he's a
Well,
monster. They just see he's cool. This is what I do. We all do it.
Exactly.
So
misery
birds
loves
of a
company.
feather flock together. So
Exactly.
you're gonna hang with who does what you do and down with your stuff.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they're not gonna be your helpmate at
They're
all. They're
not.
gonna be there to keep
But
you
see,
in part of the party.
that person doesn't see that.
That's another element to just consider, like if we
Mhm.
want to squeeze this in before we finish
Yes.
tonight, is like the social, right? Like most people who have substance abuse issues hang out with other people with substance abuse issues,
Exactly.
right? So it's easy for them to kind of say, "Hey, come on, man, let's do this."
Let's do a pill
Versus like
popping party.
that part of the transformation is saying like, "Wow, man, like I can't even hang out with my friend anymore or friends plural." And I think just sort of discussing the sexes in generalities, like women are typically superior in their relating skills, and they'll kind of like come together and help each other. Men are more lone wolves, like
Exactly.
we'll
We
tend to
talk
kind of
within each other.
we'll tend to operate by ourselves, and then we're not very well socially conditioned for asking for help, and so then it becomes more difficult.
Yeah.
Mm.
There are some
Embarrassment.
dudes who are better at it, but typically I would say we're conditioned to operate kind of solo, where when women are
Well,
superior at kind of like talking
because
together.
boys in general to begin with, you're not taught to be emotional. Don't you, oh, you poor thing. No, not poor thing. It's a boy. It's meant to be strong. Like for an example, when they're little, you boys are young. Don't play with that doll. What are you? You're playing with the doll? What's going on? But realistically, no, it's happened. I've
Well,
seen you're just laughing, but it's no, it's
no, I'm
funny.
not,
I
not
have
laughing at that. It's just
I'm
okay.
oh, okay, this is so funny. But realistically, how do you know that boy isn't learning how to nurture their future children,
Yeah.
right?
But today,
I've I lit all my Geo Joes on fire, so I didn't-
But that's a true
that's how I
boy.
play with
Yeah,
my dolls.
it's so funny.
Sorry.
So maybe another episode we can talk about social conditioning, right? But that's like a whole different subject. But I
Yeah.
think for tonight, I think important to talk about, like, is the guy ready? What are the choices?
Yep.
How much is she willing to put up with?
right.
Exactly.
Recognizing that like the car's off the track and could be lethal, could be multiple
Sure
deaths,
can.
not just his own.
And that's the sad part is if
And like,
it's
what
not
is
his
the
own.
intervention, if any, that like
Hmm.
they choose to do? And here are some of the choices.
So
Thanks, Louise.
thank you guys. And with this said, if someone's out there and they're battling, marijuana, pill
Any type of
popping,
addiction.
any type of addiction, there's help. Once again, Steve, he's magnificent. As a matter of
You
fact,
can reach
it
out
was
to
a
him.
really great story. I don't know if you want to mention it, but it's beautiful because you opened up a whole new world for someone.
Yeah, it does all like a final touch point
Yes.
is, yes, addiction is a lethal opponent. Like, you can die from it, you can lose your mind from it, you can lose your marriage, your children, you can lose everything. I have a, also a bright point. Like today in our outpatient program, we graduated somebody, and this person is now 3 months plus sober. They came in very depressed, and now is like
That's
doing their
beautiful.
hair and dressing
Oh, great.
becomingly and standing up tall and
Bravo.
owning like their space, not like being apologetic and moving. And
That's
also
beautiful.
reflected that, like, that they got to heal some serious wounds in their family and are feeling more confident. And like, you could have this whole other deal, right? Like,
Yes.
and
And we'll
this
have to get
person, like,
into
she
that.
she she took the plunge of like, I'm gonna do what it takes to make my life better. And today, we got to hear some of that those results of the effort that she put into it.
And
So
that's
Beautiful.
beautiful. Isn't that awesome?
Mhm.
very cool.
So,
It's awesome.
these treatment centers do help. Once again, reach out to Dr. Steve. Reach out, right?
Yeah, I'm around, man. We're offering services to the community. We want people to live a good life. Want people to be happy. Want people to be healthy. Want to enjoy. One of the things I say is, like, well, one day you'll be dead.
Yep,
So whatever the life is that you want, it's on you to go for it. And my
exactly.
purpose is to help you get the thing you say you want.
Amen.
Great.
Amen.
Great.
So thanks for giving me a little moment to share
I
a win. That was a cool
know.
win
That's a
today. Very
cool
cool
one.
win.
That
Very,
is
very
Very
beautiful.
cool
nice.
win.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want viewers to know exactly the beautiful work that you do.
Thanks, Louise.
Yes,
So
always.
viewers, yeah, comment how you like this segment and share and subscribe, you guys. Remember to do that.
That's right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Chris,
Yeah,
for your
thank
share.
you.
We really enjoyed it. I think this was a very nice episode, nice little sesh that we had, right, guys?
Absolutely.
All
And
right.
also, if you have an episode that you'd like for us to talk about or a subject, send us a little message in the
Let us
comments and
know.
let us know.
Let us
Yeah,
know. Yes.
we might get you in here.
Ooh, that would be great. All right, guys. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching and listening. It truly means the world to me. If you enjoy the show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe at Let Loose with Lou on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify.